Harry, let's start with you. Give us your perspective on esports from Pinnacle's point of view, but also obviously addressing the affiliate market.
Thanks, mate. So I think the interesting bit of this week in terms of esports was our release on Monday or Tuesday even. We took our 5th millionth esports bet sometime during Super Bowl weekend. A little bit of context to that. Pinnacle took their 3rd million esports bet in October of last year. So that's 2 million in space of 4 months or so. The current trend projection has us taking our 10 millionth bet sometime next January. So we are talking about the fastest growing betting vertical in sports. It's huge. And I'm quite surprised because I've only been involved in esports betting for 18 months within Pinnacle. And before then, I had no exposure to it whatsoever. So I've come very fresh. And considering that growth spurt and considering how difficult it is to get involved in other markets and other sports channels, I'm amazed that esports betting hasn't become more competitive already. It still appears to be something people teeter around with. We see Betway spending a lot of money. Unicorn's a bespoke brand in esports betting. We as Pinnacle have been around for 6 years with it. But 365, they're quite quiet. Sky, Ladbrokes, Coral, everyone's just taking their time, and which is correct, probably, find their feet. However, hey, this is massive and it's growing at that rate. So I'm not sure what the hindrance is and what's holding people back. But suffice to say, it is the fastest growing sports channel out there. It's for a younger audience. It's high volume, low lifetime value, and it's very interesting. And it's a bit like gaming was 10, 12 years ago. There aren't any rules to be defined as yet. Even us as Pinnacle, we lucked out in the first mover advantage, but we can't pretend to have an astute view on how it works. So I think it's hugely exciting. I think there's a lot more to come from it, and I think something that I put into a piece last week, I genuinely think it'll be a top 3 betting market by value within the next 8 to 10 years, and I'm pretty confident about that. And if I think that's true, then that's a huge assertion. So anyway, I think that's what it is, and it's an exciting place for sports books and betting to be in.
Okay, Luke?
Yeah, so I'd kind of echo what Harry says, but so firstly, just to introduce myself a little bit. So I've been in esports for a lot longer than I've been in gambling. So I first got involved in esports in 2006. I was a pro gamer of the sorts of the day. Then I ran a few pro gaming teams. Put on events. I held the license for the UK market for the biggest competitive gaming website in the world. And I first got involved in betting on esports back around 2008 when the first entrant came in, XLBet. So they went bust. That was far too early. And I also, away from the day job, have a few affiliate sites focused on esports betting. So most of the GameNames.com. And so forth. So I'm in the market, and I've been in the market for a long time. I guess where I see it at the moment is I don't really know where it's going to go. Harry says that he thinks in the next 8 to 10 years it will be a top 3 sport. That's great to hear because I said that 2 years ago, and since then I haven't really seen anything that supports that claim. Viewership is up and up and up. So last weekend you had a major Counter-Strike event that had about 1.2 million viewers concurrent watching online. That's crazy. The viewership of esports games rivals any fringe sport. And the betting figures on black markets are huge and probably would take esports to a top 3 position in bookmakers. Now the issue so far is that product is awful. Like, bookmakers don't offer what bettors want on esports. So for me, that's the real thing that needs to change. I guess we'll get into the kind of skins and black markets in a bit, but yeah, as Harry alluded to, people haven't really gone full guns blazing. I think that is the thing that if esports isn't a top 3 product in 8 to 10 years, it's because the operators haven't put sufficient focus on it.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Luke. Straight to the nub of the topic. Harry, obviously, I imagine you want to respond to that. Bookmakers don't offer the betting product the punters want.
Yeah, it's totally fair enough. Our trading teams at Pinnacle are built up from esports bettors. Our trading director was a Magic the Gathering world champion, and I had to look up on Google what that meant. Apparently, that's a big deal in esports or fantasy sports. But all our traders play their trading in sports as a game, and Marco Bloom, the trading director, is advocated this approach very heavily. What it means is they approach esports from the player angle. However, even they, I don't think, are taking full advantage of the in-play opportunities because it's very onerous. It's really hard to do in-play the scope of the games. And bear in mind, the games change every year. You look at CSGO and the skins market, it's reinventing itself every 6 months. So we as a commercially led and a product-led business, we don't necessarily feel we have to be the ones making up everything and getting it right first time. We've got a very nice sport that's taking more bets per year than ice hockey now, which is pretty incredible, really. But yeah, I think people need to be investing in the player-led needs right now, and we need to go and take betting and go and sit within esports for a year or so. For me, I'm hiring people, but I'm hiring them from within esports backgrounds. I'm looking at people with trading, betting, and esports professional backgrounds to look at my marketing because I don't want to do it. I don't speak with a clear voice to esports fans, and the last game I played was Tekken 2, so I'm inappropriate for it. I need to have people that are embedded in that world, and we need to be offering a product. So our new esports hub, which will be live in about 4 months' time, it's going to be all sorts of cool stuff, and it won't look like a betting portal, traditional one. It's going to look like an esports portal, and the betting functionality be within it. So that's our first tentative steps in terms of our learnings. But like Lou says, there's a lot more to be done, and we haven't quite, no one's got it right, really, as yet.
Yeah, I think Harry will probably like and dislike what I'm going to say is that the Pinnacle does esports as well as anybody. And in terms of if in 10 years we're saying that, esports has exploded, I think it's fair to say that Pinnacle will have been a key reason for that. They pushed the product and gave it legitimacy within the industry. At the same time, Pinnacle are an irrelevance in terms of whether the product gets there in 10 years. Because if you bet 365s, if you're William Hills, if you're Paddy Powers, if you're Ladbrokes, don't push it in the UK market. It's not going to be a top product, and the product that all these guys have at the moment is crap. Like none of them. Like if you go on today to look for a game on Ladbrokes, right? You're a better on esports. There are probably about 20 Counter-Strike matches today. You will find 5 of them maybe. Like.
But surely, Lou. I mean, I think that sorry to interrupt here, but from Harry's point of view and your point of view, you seem to be coming from 2 different angles. I mean, Harry is a bookmaker essentially, and this leads on to my question. I mean, if you're a bookmaker, a sports betting punter, especially let's say the larger staking ones. Are they going to want to get into esports in terms of finding out about the market, finding out about the prices? It's hard enough just looking after horse racing or football or golf or whatever. Therefore, what I'm saying is, are bookmakers addressing the same audience, as opposed to, say, a skins betting market, which is completely different?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the market, I mean, I don't see existing gamblers as the market whatsoever. I don't think you're ever going to cross-sell a football punter into betting on esports. Like, if you're an esports fan and you want to bet on esports, then you will do it. But a horse racing punter isn't all of a sudden going to go, oh, this is an exciting new thing. I really want to sit down and watch a League of Legends game, because they won't have a clue what's going on. And I guess that is a key point for, how to go and succeed in esports. Esports isn't actually a thing. Right, esports is an overarching term in the same way that sports betting is an overarching term. Sports betting is football, it's horse racing, it's rugby, it's tennis, it's golf. Esports is Counter-Strike, it's League of Legends, it's Dota, it's Street Fighter, it's Hearthstone, on and on and on. These are completely different things. Like a League of Legends fan and a Counter-Strike fan, they're not the same person. I love watching Counter-Strike. Like, I like playing Counter-Strike. I'll sit at home and I'll watch Counter-Strike all day on a second monitor while I work. But put me in front of a League of Legends broadcast and I can hardly tell you what's going on. Like, I would know the basics, but I couldn't tell you it to any level. I couldn't explain to you what is happening. So that's key, and understanding that, these are different things, and that, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. is very important.
So Harry, I mean, obviously,
Yeah, I'm almost annoyed at that because that's the hidden gem that I've been protecting for this year. That is the truth. And the way to market esports is to define the games as different sports in their own right. Now, I'd be more than happy to let 365 and Hills and Coral just crack away and spend all their money and blow the budget on esports, this entity. And I'll be there with my little CRM strategy, just talking about Dota 2 in one language and CSGO in another. But you've blown that for me, so thanks, mate. That's awesome. Because I don't have the budget that those guys have, and I need competitive advantage. That's number one on the hit list. So now you've said it, we should expose that, for the benefit of the world. Break the sports down, speak about them as if they're unique sports. Have them in one hub. That's one lesson, and that's probably the biggest one because it is so true within how the sports are managed and watched and viewed. League of Legends, like Luke says, it's a fantasy game. CSGO, Dota, guns, ammo, skins, weaponry changing hands for new skin styles. It's different audiences, different mindsets, different needs, different bet types, different sports. And once you get that in your head and then you build your esports betting strategy out of it, you save yourself a year, a bunch of money, and you're probably going to have a fair chance of some success early on.
Yeah, and further to that as well. So you have these different sports, right? So let's take, CSGO, which is, in terms of black market wagering, it would be the highest. And let's say League of Legends, which in terms of real money wagering is either top or second.
Sorry, Luke, when you say black market wagering, what are we talking about exactly?
So when I say black market, so a lot of esports gambling so far has been through on unregulated sites, what I refer to as the black market, which is generally known as skins. So these are in-game items. So if you have this game at home, and it's mainly Valve games, so Counter-Strike, Dota 2, and also FIFA separately. So these are 3 games that have in-game cosmetic items. Now these items have a value that's generally dictated by the market. It's like there are auction sites, there are third-party kind of brokerages where you can cash out. And essentially, if you think of these skins as something like a Bitcoin, a pseudo-Bitcoin kind of thing. Now, these are money. Like, there is no doubt that these skins, while they make your gun look good in the game, the reason people want them is because they have a value. And you can bet these skins on generally, third-party tote pool sites. So that's one thing on the tendencies of those bettors. So in games like Counter-Strike and Dota, their experience, where they are betting now is on these black market sites. That is a better user experience than betting cash with a traditional bookmaker. So, two reasons for that. I mean, one, there's no regulation, so Americans can bet, under 18s can bet. That's not a good thing, but it's the reality of the market. And secondly, it's ease of use. The people have these skins already. They want to bet them. It may not feel like money. And I guess following on from that, that's reflected in their tendencies and their knowledge of gambling. So, if you're trying to talk to these people, a CSGO gambler who bets on these tote pools where the only options are win-win. There's no draws. So, these people are used to backing, they only bet singles because that's what the sites can support. They don't mind backing a 1.05 shot because they do it all the time. And they're actually used to having odds reflected in percentages. And they all think in percentages. So it's quite an educated bettor. Like, they think in the way that, a professional gambler might think, what's my percentage chance of this happening versus what's the market saying. Now, the fact that obviously people aren't necessarily good at getting that right is a byproduct, but that's the kind of mentality that those people have. Whereas League of Legends, they never had any of this illegal gambling. So they're much more, if you're a League of Legends fan, you might have been exposed to betting because you're a football fan as well. Otherwise, you haven't been exposed to betting before, so you have a lot more of a novice understanding.
Okay, so the potential audience for each game is actually could be quite different in some regards. Though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
And on the skin side, it's no surprise to sort of expose now that we're talking square action here, like super square. These are people who are spending $400 on a new knife pattern. I think that's right, isn't it, Luke? Or more than that sometimes. So, you're buying a new virtual knife. Now, to me, this is dumb. This is really dumb. I'd rather go skiing. But some people want a virtual knife and it's $400. That's what they spend it on. It's super square action. So you've got games and skin betting existing illegally. So with all the lack of integrity problems that brings. So there's an industry-wide issue there. So you've got to do a clean-up job. Skin betting, unregulated is bad. Regulated betting, fine. But I mean, there's no set of behavior here. And we're in the early doors now. E6 turned up and a couple of other bodies have turned up, which is great because there's an intent there. And I think the industry has an intent to have esports well regulated. But the skin sites still exist. And for markets which can't do regulated betting, they will carry on existing.
Yeah, and on that, I guess this is about how to succeed. Look, if you are an affiliate who is offshore somewhere and you're sat in a villa in Curacao, and you want to get involved in this, and you don't care about regulation and having the gambling commission knock down your door,
can we have them somewhere not Curacao? That's where we're from. We aren't dodgy.
You're in Malta now. You're all right. But yeah, if you're an affiliate and you're already operating the States or black markets and whatever, and you don't really care for regulation, I mean, it's not my strategy. I don't want the gambling commission coming along and fining me £500,000 like happened at the start of this week. But the money at the moment in being an affiliate is in affiliating the illegal bookies. I'm friends. I don't touch them. I'm friends with another affiliate who does. He promotes a load of illegal sites and regulated sites, and his earnings from his fifth highest illegal site is 10 times the earnings of his top regulated site. That's where the money is right now, and that's something that holds back the affiliate industry, because at the same time, doing deals with those sites is also very hard, and there is no trust with those sites. You don't know who they are. You don't know if they're going to renege on your deal. You don't know what they're actually paying you, because they're converting the money into bananas or whatever stupid name they give their on-site currency, because they're pretending it's not money. So murky waters, but if you can get it right, I think that's where the money is.
You're being a bit unfair towards the unregulated sites, then, Lou. I mean, yeah, some of them might be, but I mean, I've met plenty of unregulated sites who run their businesses just like normal businesses, and they pay on time, and
there's a large number of fake unregulated sites and unscrupulous ones in this market specifically.
The key to this appears to be, as an affiliate, which is what this show is all about, you can make more money with the skin sites right now than you can with the likes of me. And until that changes, then why the hell would you promote the likes of me? So that's a structural issue. That's a industry-wide issue. It's my job in part, and my competitor's job, to make it more attractive for affiliates to work with either regulated or more officious sportsbook-driven ones, not the skin ones. If skin ones treat them well and they get paid on time, I'm not one to argue and say don't work with them. If I was an affiliate, I'd work with them. But I'd like to think that the grown-up version of betting is going to come through. It normally does. It's acting a bit slow at the moment. We're a bit like an old man. We're sort of wheezing our way towards esports betting success. But fine, give us a year or two. The money's there, the audience is there, the hunger's there. Normally, gaming is quite fast, so I think we'll get there eventually.
I mean, talking about Pinnacle, I mean, leaving the skins market aside, I mean, you obviously have some affiliates who promote esports, for Pinnacle. I mean, what's the relationship? What's the lifetime value? What kind of customer are we talking about? Obviously, bearing in mind, some of the age-related topics that can come up.
Lifetime value is significantly less than casino and sports. Unsurprisingly, it's square action. Cost per acquisition goes hand in hand with that. So I can't go into the figures. We're a private company, but it's very skinny CPA targets for me because the lifetime value is so low as well. They don't really cross-sell themselves. They don't cross-sell into casino and sports very well, as Luke alluded to.
So I'm surprised at that on casino. See, I see a huge propensity for cross-sell.
I'm really, really cautious of it. I want to learn more about my esports audience. Slots are a no-brainer. That feels in the same world. It's easy. It's bubblegum for the brain gameplay. I want to protect my players and learn from them. So the moment I put them into my casino world, that's bigger money, bigger spend, bigger risk. Come the course of time, it is an obvious one, yes. No one's putting pressure on me to rinse the esports crowd in the casino and make the money. So, and I think I like cross-sell. I love cross-sell, in fact. In my esports crowd, I want to build an esports player base and learn from the behavior. It's like with our trading opportunity. We take the data from Sharp Action and make our lines. I take the information from esports bettors and I use that to function my communication strategy towards them because we haven't got any rules. I don't know them very well and I'm not one of them. So, and I personally think if I get them into slots, they probably love it. They probably spend their pocket money and that's them gone. And that doesn't sound very good for the sort of longevity Pinnacle at least has with their customers.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I mean, I would echo what Harry says regarding lifetime values being low. I mean, generating esports traffic is very hard. Like SEO volumes aren't really there on most titles. The titles where they are there, it's generally the black market led titles, and the customers don't want to convert on regulated stuff. Yeah, so you have to, if you're going to get into the market, I mean, I think finding traffic sources that are people that are interested in esports, you kind of have to think outside the box a little bit. I don't really see that. I don't really see PPC aggregators as being a winning strategy in making a profitable esports affiliate business. I don't really see at the moment SEO being there. I mean, it's something where, look, my strategy on our affiliate sites is part SEO based, but that's very much a long-term play. Converting players off it at the moment is very challenging because product doesn't meet customer demand. But that's the longer-term game. Whereas if you find ways to infiltrate these gamers in other communities, that's where I think opportunities in the immediate term are.
Luke, what about Twitch? Because Twitch always comes up in these chats, so I'd like to raise it and be interested to get your opinion about it. Because for me, it's the YouTube of esports. It's wonderful. The traffic volumes are huge, but I can't geo-target. I can't demographically track. It's a marketer's nightmare, and yet that's what everyone's watching. So, what are your views on how the opportunity there?
I mean, from an affiliate perspective, I don't really see much opportunity with Twitch. CPMs on video are hugely expensive. You'd also have to develop, video ad content. From a brand perspective, I mean, there are brands that do endorsement deals with particular streamers. I mean, I guess it depends what markets you're in. I mean, I only speak English and I don't really see much potential, but I think in non-English language markets, there's probably a lot more where you could get value for money. Just the English language streamers, you're paying for US views and you can't back that out to being affordable.
Out of interest, I mean, in the audience, does anyone do esports affiliate marketing? I mean, does anyone have esports bookmakers or operators on their books? Okay, so potential virgin audience for you, Harry, is it? Okay, I mean, obviously you mentioned straight from the off, you mentioned there's little cross-sell opportunity between esports and sports betting customers, which strikes me as a kind of like, cut them off at the knees, because you talked. I mean, I was talking to Betway recently, and they said, in various panels and Sky Bet, there's a great crossover potential. If they bet on football, they're going to want to bet on this kind of stuff. Young blokes, so on and so forth. You don't think so? And why?
I mean, I'd be very skeptical of anything that Sky Bet are saying based on the fact that their volumes are tiny. And I mean, to be honest, what they're saying is probably true. I mean, they have quite a good Call of Duty product range. And that's about it. And Call of Duty players in the UK are generally kind of your lads that play Call of Duty. And if they're seeing action betting from Call of Duty players, they probably do put their football lacquer on as well. But I'd be quite skeptical of what most bookmakers say about esports just because the numbers aren't there. They don't have people in their business that understand the markets either. So,
yeah, to be honest, I mean, no disrespect to our competitors, but if you're Betway and you spend an awful lot of money in esports, the key word there was potential. Everything's got potential. I tend to agree. I don't think there's a natural sell. These esports take a lot of time to be a fan of. If you're a fan of esports,
I mean, you have to practice.
You have to invest in it. It's an investment to love these sports, and you're less likely to have time for watching football, let alone betting on it.
Yeah, I mean, to have a bet on an esports game, like that's an hour of your time because that's what the shortest esports match takes, and if that's what you're betting on, like if you guys aren't gamers and I show you right now a game of Counter-Strike, I can explain it to you and you'll pick it up vaguely. You'll know that it's like virtual paintball. And you'll understand that, what's happening, who's going to win. you'll have a vague idea. And maybe, somebody might watch that if it was a 5-minute game, right? As a cross-sell on a box on a site that has it up, right? Like people have casino games. Sure, there's possible. But if I show you a League of Legends game, it's going to take an hour and a half to play. And it, like, even I don't understand who's going to win a League of Legends game. And I've probably watched 20 hours of it in my life. I couldn't tell you who's going to win. So how is that appealing to somebody that doesn't even play video games?
Okay, making it sound so appealing. Okay.
There's an awful lot of League of Legends players that want to bet, though. If you've got
how do you transfer them from that to turn them into punters then?
I mean, that's the challenge that the industry has, isn't it? We'd all be very rich if we could do that, and we would already be a top 3 sport. But I don't really see this, why there is this obsession in the industry of, can we get our existing customers to bet on esports? Like, who cares? There's like 10 million League of Legends players in regulated gambling markets. Like, get 1% of them to just bet.
Yeah, I tend to agree with this. I think give it 5 years, and if I was doing my crystal ball effort, I'd see the betting company's got the infrastructure to be able to offer esports betting in some guise or other. Now, some of them will offer crap markets and it'll be poor, but I think the esports entities will be either the likes of unicorn, like standalone brands, or there'll be sub-labels and hubs like we're doing, and they'll sit very differently to the sports offering. I don't personally see that cross-sell natural affinity. I think you need to talk in the esports manner and the right language about the games uniquely, and everything funnels that way. And then the bet types, the in-play bet types, I'd like to see a world where those invent themselves. You're literally just, the capacity is there to bet on anything within the game. You let the audience just define your betting capability. Because really, that's what it's there. The games are changing every year. So you can't have a bet type, say, in play. You can have a type of bet on speed of a win, speed of a kill, perhaps. But that'll change in the next version of the game as well. The new characters come into play. So I think you've got to be flexible. That's very important.
Yeah, I mean, I think that these kind of different bet types that are emerging now, I mean, providers are getting their better product is coming. And I think that, that's something where affiliates might be able to exploit that to try and convert people away from these illegal sites where it is just win, draw, win. And I guess just kind of leading on from something Harry said, I mean, something that's very important if you're getting into this market is authenticity. Like, if you don't know the games and you start thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to do a bit of SEO around this, go and hire someone that understands it and talk in the right language. Like esports fans, esports fans know that esports exploding, and like it's been a very like insular thing, and people it's very much a community. People feel like they're part of something, they're important. It's very much like this Reddit generation with the pitchforks out, and if they think that you're there just trying to make a quick buck, they'll see through it. Whereas, if you talk to people in their language and show that you understand them, then they're a lot more likely to respond to whatever marketing it is that you're doing. So I would say that if you don't know that, just go and partner with somebody that you'll hire somebody or get a consultant to tell you what to do in terms of like your messaging.
Yeah, I mean, Harry, actually, talking about the tone, the language of how you address potential, how you attract people to bet on esports. I mean, your affiliates, I mean, what's the, what role does content play there? How much is it about SEO, as Luke mentioned, or how much is it about PPC? I mean, what kind of marketing are we talking about for the affiliate?
Affiliate activity, SEO for us is two of the biggest ones. Our content strategy as a whole has changed and got on its head. Our new plan is about real-time content, video content from the tournaments, becoming an information portal. You look at some of the most successful esports forums, and they're loaded with interesting content, data, stats. The world loves it, but it's also spread across the games because some of these games are going to end up dying. They won't be the popular ones. They'll be the jousting of the modern age, and they'll fall off the radar. So you've got to be prepared to have your fingers in all the pies. And then, CSGO, Dota, massive. So they'll probably be your hallmark focal points. So where the volume is, like anything else marketing-wise, you focus your attention and your budget on. But there might be some hidden gems where some player value comes into play. So you might go commercially, it makes more sense for us to put effort there. Or it's less competitive in League of Legends, for example, so I want to invest more there. At the moment, there's no hard and fast rules. For me, it is terrific fun because we can toy around with things at a very micro level and learn. We can learn an awful lot of lessons for a relatively low investment. Come next year, it'll be more expensive. I mean, Coke and Nissan and Red Bull are now buying teams. So the price of sponsorship has gone up through the roof. So I don't want to do any sponsorship now because the ROI is too poor. Next year, that'll be even worse because it's trending now and it's cool. And so as it becomes more mainstream, I need to get more niche and more tactical if I'm going to get the good return. Other people will go the other way and their strategy will be enormous investment, brand spends. That's perfectly fine. It's a very valid approach. But for me, tactical, intelligent communication strategy buried in the heart of the esports world.
Yeah, targeted kind of thing.
Yeah. Indeed.
And okay, all right. Well, we're coming up to the last 10 minutes of the panel. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah. Have we got any mics? No. Okay.
All right. Hi. First of all, thank you for your panel discussion. One question for Luke. Luke, you told that bookmakers do not actually offer the product that the esports fans do not want. So, what do the esports fans actually want? What are they looking for from the bookmakers' sites?
I mean, the first thing that's straight there is that a lot of bookmakers just don't have a trader dedicated to even putting lines up for major games, right? Like taking Counter-Strike as an example, there's probably there's a big event every 2 weeks, let's say, which is the equivalent of it's like equivalent of all the best Premier League teams are playing each other on that day. But it's a knockout. So it's like the World Cup, but it happens in one day. Now, let's say the quarterfinals are taking place at 10 a.m. Great, I can bet on them the night before from maybe about midnight. So the quarterfinals end at about midday. Well, I can't bet on the semi-finals because they don't have a guy in work and they're not putting lines up. How you can't retain a customer if that happens. They're gone. So that's like the number one problem. So I would definitely be looking at who actually is offering, at the most basic level, the markets. And these aren't small matches that don't get priced up. Pinnacle are great; they'll put everything up straight away, and the industry follows. But your Ladbrokes probably doesn't even put a line up.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? No, I think we've got a question. Yeah. Got a question on site. Okay, question to Harry. Okay, so you mentioned that esports is now bigger than ice hockey in terms of. Do you mean in terms of volume or value then?
Yeah, no, it's good. This is the one I got wrong in an interview in a magazine the other day, and I got absolutely shouted out by everyone, including my big boss and my chairman. So it's bet count, bigger in bet count, not in volume. So it is more popular, but like I said earlier, the value of the esports better. They bet less. The lifetime values are smaller. So it's the number of actual bets placed is bigger than hockey. Some interesting ones coming up on that front. I mean, I think with the 10 million bets proposed for next January, that puts it in the same ballpark as tennis, which is when it gets really scary. It's like tennis is one of the biggies. So that growth in popularity is there, but commercially, if they aren't betting at the same volume, and for us especially, we attract sharp action, we attract significant high bets. So it's that less valuable but more popular markets. It's actually almost the Pinnacle model flicked on its head, but the customers still get the decent low margins. So I think our job is simply now to attract the volume. I'm not going to try and make them or induce them to bet more. I've got no interest in that. I think the audience is comfortable betting at skinny levels. So let's do that and encourage that and just get more and more of them volume-wise. I think that's probably a better approach rather than change the mantra or the mindset for the audience.
In terms of the actual games that they bet on, I mean, Lou, obviously you're not a specialist on League of Legends, but it seems to be mainly CS:GO and the kind of FPS, for want of a better word, that seem to attract the punters. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I mean, if I was guessing at kind of a ranking at the top at the moment, I would including regulated and unregulated, I would say, so CS:GO, Dota 2, League of Legends, then I guess you're probably a StarCraft number 4.
Dropping off, but it's in that. I mean, the CS:GO, Dota, League of Legends, those are the holy trilogy. Oddly, FIFA for us in terms of volume, I think FIFA's awesome. It's like, why wouldn't you bet? Because it is that crossover game. It isn't there yet, and something's wrong with that because it's perfect for betting. Why is FIFA not making more action?
People don't like watching FIFA. like I think that's the thing. Like there was a big FIFA event last weekend, and I watched the final of it. 20,000 viewers worldwide. It's very low in the grand scheme of things. Like FIFA's a great game for playing. Like I love the game of FIFA, but would I watch it? No. I think that's the same thing. But I do agree that if I was a bookmaker and I did want to use esports as a cross-sell tool, I would put FIFA in the little box on the side of my website because obviously people understand it.
Yeah, it's definitely you can see the appeal there. Definitely, yeah. Okay, just out of interest, I mean, what distinction do you make between regulated and unregulated sites? Because to me, they're all unregulated, to be honest.
Well, I mean, if you have a license anywhere or not, and when I'm saying unregulated, I'm not even talking about have a license from some island somewhere that in the UK wouldn't make the it wouldn't be worth the paper it's written on. I mean, like they just don't have a license. They'll put fingers in their ears. Oh, it's not even real money. Like this isn't illegal. It's virtual. Where it's not, and the Gambling Commission said it's not, and the Gambling Commission prosecuted one of the sites this week and fined them the best part of £500,000 for operating. So, it's
and didn't they get some kind of suspended sentence as well or something?
They may well have done, but yeah, they got fined a lot.
Interesting. Okay, does anyone else have any other questions? Yep. We'll get you a mic. Hang on.
Hello. Where is the majority of your esports customers coming from, Harry? Are they existing sportsbook customers or casino customers or new customers?
New, really. They are esports fans that find the opportunity. I mean, word of mouth is enormous for us because we've been around the longest. We've been around since 2010. People at the esports events, it's helped by the fact that our trading team is almost exclusively made up of fantasy sports ex-professionals. So when people talk about esports betting, Pinnacle comes up as a brand fairly often early in that conversation. And I think we're trusted by them. We speak in the right language and things. We offer the markets they like. We don't tend to get a huge amount of cross-sell. Supporting what Luke's been saying, we define them distinctly away from each other. Geographically, I can't give you an interesting answer, I'm afraid, because we're a private company and that's the sort of stuff that is quite valuable. So you can probably find it out fairly easily elsewhere, but lots of places. Sorry, that's a terrible answer, but I apologize.
It's okay.
Confidentiality and all that. Okay, does anyone else have any other questions? Yep.
So you said that the lifetime value of the esports players is very little.
I said it was lower. Not
Very low.
I think that's a key differentiator. We get some quite significant lifetime values because we get sharp action a lot. So comparatively to casino and sports, our experience, and I won't speak for anyone else, but our experience is the lifetime values are low because the bet volume is lower. The comfort zone is the $10 to $50 bet range.
Yeah, but what about all these generations that now watching esports have never watched any other sports than that? And when they grow up, they have money and they could start actually gambling on it. What about that then?
Well, you hope they grow up into a mature betting audience. That's why we're here, is to grow betting markets and enhance the capabilities. I don't know. I don't know if they'll become more mature punters. I don't know if we'll see an expert strain of esports bettors. The data is the same. The knowledge and capability to bet wisely and astutely is the same with esports. You can use your information in a better manner. So I suspect so, yes. I think it will grow in maturity in that respect.
But you are, okay, so casinos now think that, first of all, they know that this audience, this huge audience in there, where there's a lot of potential making money from betting. You know that a lot of people are actually, around 90% of people, for example, for low players, that haven't really had touch with the gambling itself or betting, but you're not thinking of providing the product that is adapted to their behavior or to their, the way they use the internet, let's say, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the course of time, as we get better at the user experience, the customer experience work, understanding the motivations, for sure. At the moment, the competitive environment is such that, to be honest, we don't really need to be. We just need to be the best out of everyone else offering it. As it gets more competitive, I think we'll find that the services and the product offering will become more niche and more focused on the needs of the different audience members. But right now, it is young. It's an industry. It's a bit naive, and there aren't that many competitors in it. So there isn't that. Normally, it's the pressure of competition that pushes people to adapt like that. And I think that will come in. It's fast moving. Within 5 years, we'll see super niche adaptions. The way betting behavior is monitored, and the way people are induced or given more bet opportunities. Yes, it'll come. Doesn't really need to be happening just yet.
Thanks.
Okay. Before we wrap up, any other questions? No. Okay. Okay. One last one.
Hi. Luke, you said that the product is currently just not where it should be, but is that actually possible given the fact that the esports community itself and the esports sector is currently not professional enough to communicate trust to the especially the sportsbook punters? And I would generally like to ask if what do you think about risk, exploitation, and fraud concerning esports bets?
Yeah, look, I mean, trust by the punters of bookmakers, I don't really think is an issue. I mean, my issue with product is the range of markets, the reliability of markets, and so forth. I think that there are solutions on the market now that address that. Look, if you're looking for product, I don't work with anybody like Sport Radar. Have a good product now. I don't know Bet Genius's product as well as I do Sport Radar's, but it looks like they have a wider range of market. So, your two big boys from the data provision side of things, they're involved now and they've invested in it. So I would be comfortable if I owned a sportsbook implementing one of their solutions. In terms of, fraud and risk generally, I don't see, fraud as potential risk any more than anything else. I mean, in terms of sharp action, yeah, sure. Look, you're everywhere. Every sport has people that will take advantage if your lines are out. So yeah, and if your plan is to scrape Pinnacle, but with a 5-minute delay, yeah, people will take advantage of your lines being out when they move. But, that's why you have a risk team and why you have odds compilers or you outsource, right?
Okay, all right. Well, look, before we wrap up, okay, just Luke, 30 seconds, 2017 eSports, what do you predict?
Yeah, the impossible question. Significant growth, we've already covered that. We've looked at the 10 million bets mark for us. That's January of next year. I think the competition is going to ramp up. I like to think that we'll see the innovation from the small upstart groups as they take feeds from Bet Radar and the like. That makes it easier to enter the market. So they bring in brands and methodologies that are more esports specific with those feeds. I think we'll see a lot of those upstarts doing very well at niche levels and at a sport level as well. So I think Dota betting site and CSGO betting sites, they're likely to pop up. Beyond there, I think just the general behavior and performance of esports betting for everyone, it's got to be better than where it is now. We're behind the curve. Everyone's now seen the growth. They've seen the money. Normally with gaming types, I've been around 10, 12 years or whatever in this industry. Normally where money and opportunity are an enormous wave of people then run in and follow. So I think by the end of this year, we'll be a very different shaped marketplace than we are even now, which is great for the business, potentially very good for customers, good for esports. Although worrying that we're seeing some of these esports players being paid multi-million-dollar deals in their teens, I could do with a little bit of behavioural looking after of this world, because I think there's a lot of money flying in from all sides. Normally, where a lot of money flies in, people turn into arseholes. So I'd like to see a bit more of the maturity of sports management coming into esports. I think that works very well for the betting side, so we all act accordingly and appropriately.
Thank you, Luke.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't really know what's going to happen in 2017. I think it's going to be, in terms of betting, I think it's going to be a crucial year for esports. I think come the end of this year, either esports betting has boiled over completely and the operators in the regulated markets just decide that they can't be arsed with it. or perhaps it goes the other way and perhaps the growth is huge. I'm probably on the less bullish side at the moment. I mean, there's a tension right now. There's a tension by the operators. You know, the esports is a topic at ICE. You know, the CEOs of companies in this industry now know what esports is, and they know that they're not doing esports well. But whether they care about rectifying that, given all the other pressures in regulated markets at the moment, I'm not sure. And I don't think that if they decide that it's not important this year, I don't think they're going to decide it's important next year. I hope that's not the case, and I hope that they push it and that it takes off. But I think time will tell.
From my perspective, obviously, I hope they take 2 years to do a thorough research and development plan, because they're 5 years behind us, and it makes my life easier. For the longevity of the industry and to keep things interesting and spicy, yeah, I hope the CEOs do put it down as like project number 1, 2 on this year's roadmap, because I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it is going to be a top 3 market for betting. And the sooner we learn our lessons as an industry, the healthier it's going to be as a sub-segment. So bring on the competition.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, ladies and gents, if we could give a round of applause for Harry and Luke. Thank you very much for your time and attention today. We've got a half-hour break until 12 o'clock, so before coffee break and all that, and see you in a bit. Thank you.